Hey guys, it's Callie with Wildflower Preservation, and what I do is I preserve wedding flowers and special event flowers in resin. But we are actually not going to be doing that today. We're going to be doing something a little different, and dare I say, it's never been done before, and it's all based off of a little book series called A Court of Thorns and Roses, or ACOTAR for short, and that's how I'm going to be referring to it for the most part. While immersing myself into this book series, I, being the visual learner that I am, of course looked up fan art, which of course led to some spoilers, and I definitely don't recommend that, but it got me thinking, why can't I make my own version of fan art for this series that's somewhat spoiler free? So that's actually what we're going to be doing today. We're going to be starting an art piece that is inspired by the spring court. To be able to start this whole series, I'm going to have to pick up flowers that remind me of the spring court. I'm gonna have to dry them, and then I'm gonna have to design them and cast them. So let's go ahead and get that started. It is springtime right now, and what better way to start in spring flowers whenever we already have them out in the store. First, I got some pink spray roses. Since the name of the book has rose in it, I figured we need to have roses in it. What better way to show off springtime than with tulips? We're going to be using pink and yellow, and then I got a few things of pink ranunculus. I got chamomile, green dragon aster. This reminds me of grass. I don't know why it reminds me of grass, but it does. And then the last bit that I have, what is this even named? Oh wait, it just says green accents, perfect. So, of course I got this because it reminds me of moss, and I just feel like that's so, as you can guess, springy. But before we dive into this book, I need to get all these flowers prepped to break down, which involves removing all the protective plastic and the rubber bands attached to each bundle. Last one, here we go. I feel like with spring, things kind of grow at different heights. Nothing has really been mowed yet because everybody wants everything to bloom. So we're going to do varying heights with this. I got the greenery cut. I got some of that moss stuff cut, which is kind of crazy. I'm cutting the roses at the base. I'm gonna have them forward face this way rather than go on the side. I'm gonna cut some tulips as well. I do want to keep some of the greenery with it because that is a huge part of the tulip. These are pretty much cut at the same height. I'm gonna start cutting some other taller ones so it looks like they're kind of springing out of the ground like this. I've now broken down all of the flowers, and we are going to start drying everything. I'm gonna have to put on this beautiful mask. I don't want to breathe in the silica that I'm gonna be using to dry the flowers. Now, when it comes to flower drying, you can do a couple different methods. I personally use silica to dry them so I can keep the shape of the flower, the color of the flower better. We're gonna start with the bottom, like the bigger flowers on the bottom, work our way up, dry it, and then we'll be done. While I'm drying these flowers, I figured I could use this time to give those who have never heard of ACOTAR before a brief synopsis of the book. That way you have a better idea of what this block's theme is. ACOTAR is a fantasy novel that follows this main character around named Feyre, who is forced to go into the fairy realm after a deadly encounter in the woods. And remember this encounter because this is going to be an important theme to add into the end. But anyway, back to the story. Feyre was forced to go into the fairy realm, and whenever I first read this, I was envisioning more of like Tinkerbell's little pixie land filled with a bunch of fairies like that. No, boy was I wrong. These fairies, also known as fae, are super powerful beings that kind of resemble the elves in The Lord of the Rings. Anyway, while Feyre is in this world, she becomes pretty insufferable at times. I mean, this girl's literally forced to live in a mansion, wear beautiful clothes, eat amazing food, and has a hot fairy that low-key is obsessed with her and grants her almost every wish, and she still is somehow miserable. But over time, Feyre starts to see the brighter side of things and even starts to fall in love with this hot fairy known as Tamlin. And I can't fail to mention that Tamlin just so happens to rule over the spring court, which brings us back to today's theme. My goal is to recreate what I envisioned a specific scene to look like, but I'll get into that in a minute. We're gonna put all of these dried flowers away. We're gonna let them dry for about 3-ish weeks, and then we're gonna take them out and design. I'm gonna put these away, and then I'll see you guys in about a month or so.
3 weeks later.
So I have the flowers that already dried, and then I went ahead and picked out some flowers I think that might look good incorporated into this design that kind of gives a spring feel that I didn't have to dry, that I already had dried. So I'm gonna go ahead and start designing this, and then I can actually talk through with why I'm doing the design that I'm doing. Okay, so now we have our template ready to go. I'm gonna place this here. This gives me a rough idea of the size that I'm gonna be placing my design in. So I always start with my greenery first, and then I layer flowers up atop the greenery. I'm going to be designing this piece after a scene in the book where Feyre and Tamlin's connection really begins to bloom. In this scene, Feyre and Tamlin are laying side by side in a meadow filled with golden sunlight and wildflowers swaying in the breeze. Up until this point, Feyre only cared about getting back to her family, but in this moment of stillness in the meadow, not only did she begin to notice how vibrant and alive the Fey realm is compared to the mortal realm, she also began to see Tamlin in a different light, and they even share a kiss. Now, after reading this book for the first time and the build up to this scene, had me kicking my feet like a little schoolgirl. So because of this and the shift in tone this scene brought to the book, I knew I'd be doing the spring court an injustice if I did not use this moment as inspiration for the overall design for the spring court block. I'm going to finish this design up and then I'm going to show you the full view of it. Ooh. Okay, you guys, we just finished the design for the spring court. I decided that I'm going to keep with the design. Thankfully, I didn't have to take everything apart and restart again. I think that it fits within my vision of the spring court. I'm going to be placing the design in this. Robert's going to do each layer in this. Once that's done, then he gets to absolutely take full control over it and do the wooden frame. And once the wooden frame is done, then it will actually be time to be able to hang it up. Okay, y'all have seen me make the design, but now it's time for me to place it in its mold. And when it comes to placing my designs, I will always take a photo of it to be able to refer back to it when transferring flowers, which honestly comes in handy a lot more often than you'd think. When taking flowers off the design mat, other flowers will get moved around, making it virtually impossible to replicate the original design based off memory alone. So just know that if I'm placing a design, a reference photo will always be nearby. And boy, am I thankful for that fact, because the goldenrod and chamomile were really causing me some issues this time. Anyway, after I finish this design, Robert will take the next few days to pour thin layers of resin to fully cast the flowers. And then we'll remove it from its mold, and then we can actually start the framing process. This block is officially out of its mold and it is ready to go onto its next phase. But this next phase is not going to involve me. It is going to involve no other than Robert. So he is going to be doing the frame for this piece. Now the only problem is that Robert has not read this book before, so he has no idea what the vibes are going to be. So I'm going to have to give him a little bit of context clues ahead of time and just pray and trust that you are going to take good care of this block. I believe in you. I really do believe in you. Can't you tell? I am not going to watch him do this. It's going to be his full creative liberty in this. And you guys are not going to know what it looks like, so we're both going to be surprised. And I think you'll be a little surprised too.
I'm going to be fully surprised.
I'm going to leave so he can explain what he's going to do.
Let's honestly just go after it.
I was really excited to work on this piece, and I didn't really know exactly what I was getting into. I even went out, I bought this new router bit. It worked really well. I didn't have any issues, like maybe one issue, but it wasn't that bad. I did snag this guide just in case. Okay, let's just ignore that. So to get this block to actually fit into the frame, I have to scribe every piece to each side of the frame. Once it's all marked up, I like to use a chisel along the line I drew and just start removing material until the block fits really snug. I had to really fine-tune each piece before I cut all the corners. And speaking of cutting corners, I was horrified to cut these. I just spent this whole afternoon getting every side of the block to fit. So if I mess this up, I have to start all over again. And I really don't want to do that. Normally glue-ups freak me out, but I made this contraption to help me clamp it all together. And I only had one little mess up where I had to use a extra clamp. But after 24 hours, I popped it out, got it sanded, and now it's time to show it to Callie.
We got the frame together. I think it turned out really nice. I really like this color. I think it matches the flowers. I went ahead and added this wolf thing being stabbed on the side. I thought it was pretty cool. She told me to read the book for inspiration. That's about as much as I read. So let's see if Callie likes this as much as I do.
I'm on the way. I hope that it gives me spring court vibes.
It will definitely give you spring court vibes.
Okay, can I look? Oh my gosh. Robert, you seriously have outdone your... Oh my gosh, I didn't even see this. What the heck? Stop, you guys. This is literally the book cover. Do you even know what this is?
No, I don't. Not a bit.
And anybody that loves good old ACOTAR will know what this is. This looks incredible. I couldn't be happier with how this turned out. This is just the beginning. We have to let this continue to go on, or else I'll be doing this book series a wrongdoing, and I can't do that.
But what are we gonna do next?
I think I need to get started on the next one though, because I feel like I'm already running behind on this.
Maybe a little bit.
Don't worry, I'm gonna show you guys what this looks like up close. Okay, bye.